I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up health. Women lead HIV fight as Awareness Day highlights global impact, inequities, and call for equity. March 10th marked National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, spotlighting a reality often overlooked in the U.S. LGBTQ conversation. The fact that HIV deeply impacts women worldwide, while HIV is often associated with gay and bisexual men in the U.S., global data tells a broader story. Women living with HIV have played a significant role in the resistance efforts against Florida ADAP, AIDS Drug Assistance Program, funding restrictions. Yet cisgender white men are the ones whose leadership is lifted up, and issues most relevant to women across the gender spectrum have largely been ignored. According to UNAIDS, of nearly 41 million people living with HIV, 53% are women and girls. In 2024 alone, women and girls accounted for 45% of new diagnoses. Rates among transgender women remain especially alarming at 66 times higher than the general adult population. Experts point to overlapping challenges, including violence, poverty, racism, and limited access to prevention and care, driving these disparities. First launched in 2005, the Awareness Day aligns with International Women's Day and Women's History Month. This year, the Well Project and Positive Women's Network USA are leading efforts under the theme Sisterhood, Hope, and Equity. You can contribute to their efforts by spreading awareness and acceptance. Yes, you can. We need to change the face of HIV in America, because globally, HIV is not just a gay man's story. Over half of people living with HIV are women and girls, as we said in the story. And the loudest voices aren't always the most affected. And maybe it's time we start funding and listening to the women who've been doing this work the whole time, instead of just taking it for face value from older white men. Most people don't know that women can take PrEP. Most people don't know that, okay? And sadly, most women don't know that.
Most people don't even know what PrEP is for. I see it every day in the hospital. They have no clue. So my coworkers will say, be careful, they're high five, in other words, HIV. And I'll say, no, they're not. They're taking PrEP. That means that they're not HIV positive.
Exactly.
So it was really heartbreaking to see that number, that 66 times higher trans women are being affected by HIV, but it also, it rings true also with attacks against the trans women. Whether they're Black, Latino, they're far more, I think it's 4 or 5 times higher than a regular cisgender, non-Latino, non-Black trans woman. So there's a lot of disparities in the trans community against them. And just one more time, we just have to keep standing up. We have to keep speaking up about it, because the more times we're quiet, the more times they win.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Black and brown folks, we've always been very weary of healthcare for a lot of different reasons, right?
Yes.
And when it comes
historic
to
reasons, yes.
and historic reasons that would take up the whole show. If we start saying that, how can we even begin to start trusting healthcare with some of the stuff that have happened in history, right? But here we are at a crossroad where this is life-saving stuff. You know what I mean? And education is key. That's why all these organizations like SunServe, Pride Lines, I can go on and on of the organizations around us that are always screaming, get tested, know your status. Mayfair Medical is in front of all the pool parties. Hey, you want to get into the pool party? Get tested real quick, right? And that's how we get that across, right? I can't imagine living in the 80s and being with all my gay boys, and then next week coming back to this table and not seeing 2 of you and wondering what happened. I can't even imagine that. But we're taking so many steps back that could totally come back and be our reality again, which is why education is so important.
The Trump administration currently is taking away money from sub-Saharan Africa, and that's where most of these women infections are actually occurring, these new infections of women and girls. I was shocked when I saw that 53% of new HIV cases on the planet Earth are women and girls. That means that it is not simply a gay disease. It is not simply a male disease. It is something that everybody can contract, and know your status. And thank goodness in our community that we have health partners that are able to offer free or low-cost services in order for people to get on PrEP, get on post-exposure prophylaxis, get on treatment if they need treatment. It is a very livable disease. if you get yourself tested, get yourself treated, and know your status.
And get on the right meds,
right.
you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's scary times in Miami. Miami's #1 in the country for new diagnoses, okay?
Yeah.
And Black and brown women are #1, okay? Now, we're also talking about a city where many Black and brown folks are afraid and walking around with paperwork that they don't need or they might need because ICE can pick them up at any time.
Yep.
So for those reasons, they also don't want to go get tested. And they also don't want to go to the hospital because they're afraid that the hospital is also going to turn them in.
Yeah.
And what about those people that are newly diagnosed that are on a regimen of medication but get picked up by ICE and then they're in detention indefinitely, maybe get sent to a third country, get sent back to their home country, are unable to access the care that they need while they're in detention? I mean, there are so many moral, ethical, spiritual dimensions to what is going on that I think it's really important that we highlight the fact that it's not simply just a gay male, white male issue anymore. If it ever was really, it never was. But, the fact that, cisgendered white men, such as myself, think that, that women aren't affected by this or weren't affected by this until I learned about it it's really jarring. And I think that the more that we educate ourselves, the better that we're going to be as a community and as a world community, not just the gays, not just the queer people, not just transgendered people, everybody can be affected by it. And we all probably know people that are HIV positive.
Not probably.
That we don't even know that they are, and perhaps they don't know that they are either.
100%.
So get yourself tested, and it'll make a world of difference for you.
100%. And a big shout out going out to AHF. Okay,
Yes.
for being the incredible entity that you are.
Thank you.
When ADAP happened, when people were about to lose their meds, people were freaking out for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
And AHF was like, hold on. Let's get a forum together. Let's answer questions. Let's drop some lawsuits on these mothers. We're not taking this sitting down. All of a sudden, they came back with some money for us, right? And that's how we do it.
Wow.
Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.